Hi, I'm Stephen Murray, Applications Director for IP Integration. And I'm very pleased to be talking to you at the G Summit today to introduce you to Pauseable, the only solution for automatic pause and resume on Genesys Cloud CX. We're going to talk today a little bit about what contact center compliance means in 2021, the current options to address PCI and GDPR recording on Genesys Cloud CX, and then we're going to talk about Pauseable and introduce you to our solution to address the challenge. Why is it unique? What does it mean? We're then going to listen to one of our customers, a very well-known fashion retailer, who's going to talk about their experiences with deploying Pauseable and how it's helped them overcome their compliance challenges. We'll then wrap up and leave you to get on with the rest of what promises to be a fantastic day. So compliance, let's be frank, is a bit of a headache for contact centers today, or indeed any business. There are a multitude of sometimes conflicting standards or requirements which any business now has to address, from the ICO, PCI DSS, to the all-encompassing GDPR. The regulations can be a real minefield. And as we've seen recently over the last 18 months, with some of the fines that have been dished out to some of the major airlines in particular, a breach in one particular area, such as the loss of card details, which is covered under the PCI DSS regulations, will also attract, if you like, a double whammy of fines as the Information Commissioner's Office comes in and levies significant damages under the GDPR ruling as well. These have amounted to hundreds of millions of pounds in some cases. Contact center compliance is no different. The contact center as ever offers a sort of microcosm into the rest of the business. How do we go about securing sensitive data and ensuring that customers and clients trust us that we're going to do the right thing and protect their personal data and details? How do we manage that through practical applications of technology, such as device, network, and the physical security around access controls and who can touch that data? And then the hardest challenge, of course, the human element. How do we actually control that interface between the keyboard and the seat, which is often the weakest point in any compliance or payments security journey? And we now have the added challenge of dealing with what we'd refer to as digital first customers, those customers who are going to want to actively input and give you their card details via different channels and different mediums. How do we protect that data? And lastly, how do we actually maintain and ensure that we're dealing with our customers in the right way, that we're still providing a fantastic customer experience, but doing that within a compliance framework and ensuring none of that sensitive data is actually captured when our teams or AI are monitoring the call recordings and screen recordings that we capture to assess how they're doing. There are a couple of options natively within Genesys Cloud CX for addressing PCI and GDPR compliant call recording. Firstly, manual pause and resume, otherwise known as secure pause, where a configurable button is placed within the Genesys agent desktop. Now, unfortunately, since a revision and clarification point was made to version 3.2 of the standard, manual pause and resume is simply not deemed acceptable by the PCI Security Standards Council anymore. And that's for obvious reasons. It's very prone to human error, with organizations finding huge quantities of recorded card details in both their voice and screen recordings. Let's be frank, an agent has enough to do within their workflows, dealing with a customer, taking payments, ensuring they're inputting the data in the right systems, without having to worry about stopping and starting manually a call recording and screen recording as part of that process. The other option is by building a secure flow within Architect, essentially an automated IVR payment engine. Now, again, let's be frank, it's a disruptive customer journey. The agent has been through a process with the customer and then transfers them, offboarding them essentially into a payment IVR. It's not a great customer experience, I think you'll agree. There's also the potential for increased payments failure, and that's very, very prevalent in perhaps a non-digital first or non-automated journey, also where you're likely to be taking perhaps debtor payments as well. You want to make sure you're driving that payment through to completion. Offboarding a customer to the IVR really does increase the propensity for a failure during that process. So that's where we'd like to introduce you to Pauseable. Pauseable is an automated pause and resume solution to stop call and screen recording. And that's recognized by the PCI Security Standards Council and qualified security assessors across the globe as an acceptable method to help drive that compliance. It's a hugely flexible, highly configurable SaaS software solution. Pauseable can be completely invisible to the agent, or we can still provide manual controls or an interface for an agent to see how Pauseable is doing and whether it's on, off, and what state it's in. Importantly, we have massive integration capabilities to clients and systems of all types and ages through a number of techniques and APIs we've built in the product. 95% of deployments require no customer CRM changes or API inputs are open to us. So it's a very, very light touch solution, very, very quick to deploy. Pauseable launches automatically on startup, feeds off the Genesys and Windows credentials. So again, an agent does not have to manually start that process. And we use the Genesys Conversations API, a certified integration, to interact. And we can even retain that secure pause button functionality if required. Launch on AppFoundry is due in October 2021, but the product's available via direct agreement today. And already, Pauseable is in use with over 25,000 agents globally across finance, insurance, retail, BPOs, and government. And that's across both Genesys and also other vendor platforms. Now, one of the criticisms levied at other vendor pause and resume solutions in the past is that they are very much a fire and forget tool and there's a lack of data. And this was something we were determined to address with Pauseable. So our cloud platform supports a customer real-time compliance dashboard for reporting and BI, where we can monitor real-time activity, the number of agents logged in to both Genesys and Pauseable. We can look at the number of pauses that have actually been delivered and get error reporting as well, should things not go right. We can also define groups of agents and teams and have exclusions, which is really useful during testing and rollout, and perhaps some new triggers that might be required, as it allows us to really isolate those teams and ensure things are behaving in the way that we want to. But let me stop talking for a moment, and I'm now going to introduce you to a video case study clip from a great customer of ours, Lalit Mandalia from Bowden, who's going to be talking a little bit about his experience with Pauseable and what it's meant for their customers and their compliance journey.
Good afternoon, my name is Lalit Mandalia. I work for JP Bowden & Co Limited. We are a global fashion retailer who sell women's clothes, children's clothes and men's clothes worldwide. We focus on a really high-end product and we'd like to think we are selling great clothes to our customers. We have a head office in London, a distribution warehouse in the US and also Leicester, and we have an outsourced call center in Germany. As an online retailer, we were quick to embrace cloud services. More recently, we've worked with IPI to move our old legacy PBX, which is an on-prem solution, to a Genesys Cloud solution. During this migration process or implementation process, there was a need to mitigate any operational risk around our PCI compliance and ensuring our customers were protected. While Genesys Cloud gave us some options, the manual pause and resume option wasn't an acceptable product and certainly not from the eyes of the PCI Council. Now, this was a real challenge for us as we run a continuous process around our compliance and also we need to ensure that there is very little risk to our end customer. IPI's product called Pauseable was the answer. It integrated with Genesys Cloud natively. It was easy and quick to deploy and ticked all our boxes around security compliance. But more importantly, it's protecting our end customer. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Lalit. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an insight into Pauseable, its capabilities, and how straightforward it is to implement that into your environment. So I suppose for today, I just want to leave you with some key takeaways. And as I said, Pauseable is the only solution for automated pause and resume for screen and call recordings on Genesys Cloud CX. We have the widest set of integration capabilities of any pause and resume product globally, with the analytics and BI underpinning it. The license model is absolutely aligned to Genesys Cloud CX, supporting both bursting and overage as well. So we have huge flexibility around that. And it's a seamless billing and implementation model as a premium AppFoundry application that is catered for by our good friends at Genesys and allows for a very straightforward purchase and deployment experience. Ultimately, Pauseable allows you to strike the right balance between achieving robust compliance, a great agent, and a fantastic customer experience. So thanks very much for your time today. I've been Steve Murray, Applications Director at IPI, and I'll look forward to seeing you all in the Summit Forum. Thanks very much.